Hey guys, what is going on? This is Zip of RageQuitTV, and I got more TLO and WhiteRa for you guys today. TLO spawns as the red Zerg, WhiteRa spawning as the blue Protoss in the bottom left, and TLO is in the bottom right. The map is Shakuras Plateau, and just based on the matchup and the players, I'm going to be saying that WhiteRa will be going for a Forge Fast Expand, because at Shakuras Plateau, there's nothing really that Zerg can do reliably to stop it. They could go for like a 7 or 8 pull, or maybe even a 6 pull, but you normally don't see players doing that because it is extremely all-in. Well, the 7 pool TLO has shown is not as all-in as you'd think, but if it gets scouted and the Protoss player walls off quickly enough, the Zerg is definitely in a lot of trouble, and they have to play a little bit risky and hope the Protoss doesn't really do an all-in before they can rebuild all the drones they have missed. It is possible to come out of that, as I've seen many people pull out a 7 pool, or not many people, but just TLO in general. Get it scouted when he's going 7 pool, then just don't build lings and use that as an early queen and build nothing but drones and catch back up. But again, that makes you very vulnerable, and WhiteRa's played enough games against TLO where he knows the weaknesses to TLO 7 pool, so you don't really see him doing it that much anymore. WhiteRa is going to scout TLO last. Well, second. There's only 2 places you can scout, and TLO is going to take that 12 pull to favor an early queen. His Overlord will be coming in to scout WhiteRa with the Forge Fast Expand, and then TLO will probably just go on 3 bases as quick as possible and build nothing but drones for that entire time, because the warp gates doesn't finish until around 8:30. So you can build nothing but drones up till 7:30, get your Roach one, then just start pumping out units. Of course, have like 2 lings around the Protoss base. They send out 1 Zealot, that is fine. Zealot, you're not worried about. Your Queens and a drone, you can micro that and not lose a single unit to a Zealot. However, the Stalker could prove a little bit more trouble. If you see the Stalker moving out, well, just prepare for it and get a few more lings out. Not too many, don't overproduce them. Again, you only really need 6 or 8 lings. And then you can go up until 7:30 and just build nothing but drones. If they don't even send out that Zealot and Stalker, well, you're fine on just the 2 lings. TLO is going to be getting a queen right now, and he has his natural going up, so that's a little bit odd that TLO favors the natural over the queen, as I always thought that queens give more love than hatches. Maybe I'm wrong. But he is getting the queen and his natural. That is fine. Either or, doesn't matter. They're both about the same. I always thought queens were like 1.5 hatches if perfectly used. The Overlord is going to see this one cannon not getting out just yet, but he's far enough away where the cannon shoots him once or twice and he'll just automatically get out of the way. TLO does have his 2 lings, and WhiteRa does have a probe. Going to just be waiting on that 3rd base. Going to go up here, and then maybe around 4:15, like 4:30, he'll go back down. And then just check the hatches, because normally the hatch does get built between 4:15 and 4:30 if they want to get it up early enough to deal with any of the Stargate type play. And TLO actually going to be... No, that queen's just going down. Okay, I was about to say, he's actually going to be using a creep tumor. That's a little bit odd. I'd do nothing but injects against Protoss, just because, well, WhiteRa does see this. TLO has a ling going, so that is not going to be doing anything. The probe did go down. The ling sees this. And now the probe's going to get away, but the ling's going to start attacking. But... okay, no, he's not doing tumors. Okay, thank God he's not. I always thought inject... he is doing a tumor. So, I always thought injects were much better in ZVP, I mean. And tumors weren't so good in ZVP, just because when you're playing against Terran, when they siege up their tanks, that all depends on how much creep you have out. If you don't have any creep, they siege up right here and you're screwed. If you have creep all the way to here, well, this tanks can't really go too far on that creep, so you have plenty of time while the Terran takes out your tumors, and your creep at least goes back to build units. But against Protoss, creep tumors don't really do anything. I think just using that for injects may be much better, but who knows? Maybe TLO knows that he can get 2 tumors out and build nothing but drones and be just fine on money, and those injects wouldn't really allow him to build many more units? I don't know. Definitely odd to see a Zerg player getting 2 creep tumors so quickly. And WhiteRa is going to be going up on a double Stargate build. And his first Stalker is being built. This Ling does kind of see what's going on. He doesn't see this Forge researching anything. And this may be the big tip-off to TLO when he came up here and saw that Forge idle. Almost always you see Protoss, oh, I got a Forge, I might as well get +1 upgrades, because that comes out so handy, allowing Zealots to 2-shot Lings instead of 3-shotting them. And also, what he doesn't notice a Zealot, he doesn't notice... Well, I'm not sure exactly when he came up. This Nexus wasn't done, so... Maybe he just went up the ramp too early, but regardless, WhiteRa not getting +1 weapons and still not even getting Warp Gates, just going to favor +1 air level weapons, and now he's getting a Fleet Beacon, so he's going to be going up to Carriers. And, well, Carriers are so good with upgrades. Well, I shouldn't be saying that. I mean, they're Carriers. They're a bad unit. They're getting removed. But those upgrades really do help them more than any other unit, as they do max out around 8 Interceptors. Each Interceptor does get +1 damage. I think it increases a carrier's damage output by about 20%. That is definitely a lot of damage each upgrade does help with. The Stalker is going to be picking off this one Overlord. TLO has another Overlord coming in here, which will see both these Stargates and the Fleet Beacon. So TLO knows exactly what WhiteRa is up to. If Void Ray does come out, that Overlord is going to be going down, and TLO does know Carriers will be coming up right after that, and he is getting a Roach one. That's a little bit odd, but he is going to be canceling that and go for a Hydra Den most likely. Oh no, he can't get a Hydra Den. He is getting the Lair, and that Roach one was still really late. If WhiteRa went for a 7-gate build, TLO would just be at, maybe he wouldn't be dead. That was just about done at 8:30, so it looks like he put that down around 7:40 maybe, which may be a little bit late, I think, but it may be just enough to defend. He does have all this creep out, which is going to be good with this airplay coming out, since his queens will be able to move between bases very quickly. But TLO not getting any of the Spore calls, and just going to be defending this with a few queens. The Void Ray working on one Overlord. The queens are going to be able to take it out, possibly. The Void Ray is starting to get away, and the Lings have to get on the watch out so the Void Ray doesn't get saved on the high ground, but it looks like it does go down anyways. The Lings, of course, are sitting right here just waiting for WhiteRa to move out, and they're just going to see what comes out of their Stargates, as they're in a direct course of path from the Stargate to his own base. And WhiteRa just going to be sitting on his 2 bases while TLO is on 3. He does have 74 drones and is getting a Hydra Den, but favoring the weapon upgrade. I don't think that is smart against Carriers, just because, again, the same reason that Carriers benefit from that weapon upgrade, units benefit from that armor upgrade. They have 8 Interceptors out, and the armor upgrade would do -1 damage per Interceptor. And until they stop building, I can't see. Okay, 6 damage, 6 damage. So you'd be minusing that. You'd pretty much be taking Interceptor out of the equation. And that is definitely pretty good. You'd be taking more than Interceptor out of the equation. We do have these 2 queens that come try to take out these Carriers, but the Interceptors are more than enough to handle the queens. The queens have to back off. TLO is building 16 Hydras right now, and that should be enough to take out the Carriers. WhiteRa does target that 1 gas, getting the guaranteed damage, and the Hydras are just focusing on the Interceptors. That is not a good idea. The Interceptors only have a 8-second build time, so they rebuild very quickly, and those Hydras are definitely going to be going down, and he doesn't have this 1 carrier auto-building Interceptors. 1 carrier may fall, another Transfuse goes down on a Hydra, and it looks like TLO does defend that. He does lose 11 workers. And now these Lings are going to be going down. WhiteRa not getting +2 weapons. He is now getting Warp Gate Research, as he has, looks like 7 gates he's going up to. But TLO building nothing but Hydras at this minute, and going for +2 weapons and +1 armor right now. And I really think that armor upgrade should have went ahead. The general rule of thumb is, if you're being attacked more than you're doing the attacking, go for the armor upgrade. And of course, if you're like MC, who, well, you have God Micro and just won't lose units anyways, go ahead and get that weapons upgrade. There are a few like special cases where armor is better. In Protoss' case with Blink Stalkers, if you're good with your Blink Micro, the armor upgrade doesn't benefit the shield, so what MC's theory is, I'm just never going to take HP damage. I'm going to blink them back before my shields run out, and I will be just fine. And that works for some people. TLO does have a very nice creep spread around the map, and WhiteRa just massing up the Carriers, and he is going for the ground weapon upgrades, no longer getting the weapons, and that is a little bit odd. Just because each weapon upgrade benefits Carriers so freaking much. It's +8 damage per upgrade, essentially. And when you have these 4 Carriers, that would be +32 damage per volley. That sounds pretty good in my opinion. And, well, if you have armor upgrades on these Hydras, that'd be minus 32 damage per volley, which also sounds really good. You always want to favor those armor upgrades. The Hydras are okay at taking out interceptors, but in Brood War, Kira's had an interceptor build time of, I think, 16 seconds, and then they halved it in StarCraft 2, down to 8. So killing interceptors is not really that good. I believe they have 40 HP and 40 shields. So they definitely soak up quite a bit of damage. If the Hydras can manage to get underneath the carriers, well, the carriers are in trouble. But carriers do outrange the Hydras, and with all these sentries from WhiteRa, I don't think TLO would be able to do too much damage to the carriers if he just has perfect force fields. Can say, hey Hydras, you can't come up close to me. What TLO really needs to do is not worry about Hydras and just go for Corruptors. Corruptors deal so good with carriers, and again, TLO just going to be focusing on the Interceptors, and that is definitely not what he wants to do. In a one-on-one fight, Interceptors will beat Hydras at, well, I can't say one-on-one, but I mean, Interceptors will take out Hydras just because Hydras only have 80 HP, and well, that's just so much damage each round of Interceptors. I can't even calculate how much damage that is. That's 6 times 8, so 48. But 54 damage per volley of a carrier. So they can almost just one volley Hydras out with all these Interceptors. If he targets them with all his carriers, he can easily just click on Hydras and just have them disintegrate per volley. And as WhiteRa does get more and more carriers, the damage is just going to be going absolutely crazy. So now he has 8 carriers out, each Interceptor, 64 Interceptors total, each one dealing 6 damage. That is definitely a lot. And looks like TLO is going to go up in that vortex, and now all the Interceptors do go in there as well. Not all of them, but as soon as this comes out, there will be plenty of Interceptors, and the carriers will just launch more, and all these units will just disintegrate. Overlord's going to go down now. All these units, just look at the damage from these carriers. There's nothing that TLO can do to combat that. He is just getting more Hydras out. And again, I don't think Hydras are that good against carriers. They just cannot seem to get underneath them. Hydras are great if you can go underneath the carrier. If you can get underneath them, you can deal so much damage. But the way TLO's been doing, he's just been sitting back, killing the Interceptors, and that is not working for him. These Lings going to run down, try to do a run by, putting them on hold position, but WhiteRa just moves all his probes away. These Zealots are going to come clean up those Lings, and WhiteRa still just massing the carriers out. He does have 9. 3 Overseers are going to be coming out and just getting a scout to see what is going on, and I don't know what they're doing. They're not getting a scout. He knows what's going on in WhiteRa's base. He knows that WhiteRa is just massing carriers, and now he has 4. Maybe he forgot about this one Overseer. I don't know. But when these ones went over, he did decide to build another Nidus. And with these 4 Overseers, he will be able just to keep vision of the carriers and Interceptors, since the Mothership does cloak everything. But again, I think TLO really needs to focus on getting Corruptors out. Does he have a, yeah, he does have a Spire. But these Hydras now just going to go back and still trying to kill Interceptors. But the carriers are just going to be rebuilding all those Interceptors very quickly. And those Hydras are getting taken out. Another Vortex does go down. And, well, the Interceptors are reigning supreme. Actually, they're all in Vortex right now. Well, not all of them, but there's not many. This is when TLO needs to go and start getting underneath the carriers. There's no Interceptors really to scare these Hydras. And now everything does come out. These Hydras just evaporate. The carriers do so much damage. And again, the Hydra's just trying to kill the Interceptors. I can't stress that enough. He needs to kill. Okay, he got the Mothership, and now he is going to be retreating it. But all his Overseers are now dead. And WhiteRa is up to 10 carriers. So each volley now is dealing 600 damage before the armor does take an effect. TLO only has +1 armor. But 600 damage per volley. Oh my god, that is so much. How many Hydras does he have? Let's see, Hydras have 80 HP. So we can kill around 8 Hydras per volley of Interceptors. And thanks to StarCraft 2 Smart AI, well, they won't overkill things, and they'll pretty much just target down all of the Hydras. It may only be like 7.5 Hydras, but still, that's a lot of Hydras just dead instantly. And TLO has switched into Infestors, but Fungal Growth only deals 60 damage. Interceptors have 80 HP, well, 40 shields, 40 armor. So it's going to take 3 phone growths to kill interceptors. That is not a good cause. The Hydra's going to come take out this one Nexus, keeping WhiteRa contained to just 3 bases. The Infestor going to try to get a fungal growth off. There we go. All those interceptors do get fungal. But again, it does take 3 fungals to kill an interceptor. And all the Hydras do just absolutely melt to these interceptors. You really need Corruptors to deal with this. With these Spore Claws, he's going to still try to kill all the interceptors, Fung Growthing even more. But again, Fung Growth, it does take 3 to kill interceptors. And TLO is forced to pull back, still just trying to kill the interceptors. Interceptors have a 8-second build time, so unless you can kill interceptors in like 4 seconds, it's not worth it. And now we have High Templars coming out, which will have Storm, I believe. Where is that Templar Archives? Has he researched Storm? Yeah, he does have Storm research. Now TLO's 5th base will be under siege. This hatch going to go down instantaneously. Just look at that HP drop. These High Templars are just waiting to storm Hydras. TLO going to try to come out. He will be able to take out these 2 Killers most likely. Look how fast the Killers go down. Once the Hydras get underneath them and start attacking the Killers and not the Interceptors, Hydras actually deal an insane amount of damage, taking out those Killers so easily, but I don't know why he's just been focused on killing Interceptors before that. This one Carrier does finish the job killing all the Larvae. These 2 Stalkers are going to be going down. And now these Hydras just get melted by the Carriers. TLO doesn't really look like he has an answer to Carriers. He refuses to get any Corruptors out. He does have that Spire still, but just going to say, okay, I'm going to go with Infestor Hydra. And one thing that WhiteRa kind of slacking on is Observers. I don't know where that one Observer is. Is it with his army? It's not hotkeyed. Oh yeah, it is with his army right there. But if TLO can manage to Fung Growth the Observer, kill it, and Neuroparasite the Mothership, well, all these carriers absolutely just die instantly. But WhiteRa taking out the creeps, so the Hydras are just about as fast as the carrier, which, well, that is just very slow. Hopefully in the Heart of the Swarm they buff the Hydra speed by enough where they can actually be used off of creep, but WhiteRa has sniped all the creep off the map pretty much, so now TLO can no longer even move across the map. He does have plenty of infestors, but I don't know, what's he going to do? Try to fungal growth a carrier to death? That's going to take like, I don't know, 10, 11 fungal growths, I think. That's not going to work. You're not going to fungal growth a carrier to death. Maybe he's going to try to get all the interceptors as they leave the carrier. If he can get the money fungal growth, like right there. There he goes. Now he has to get that 3 times, which isn't going to happen just because WhiteRa has a ground force with these High Templars to do feedbacks and such. So TLO is in such trouble right now. He has 29 Hydras out when there's 11 carriers. And keep in mind, we said like the carrier can kill 7 Hydras per volley if they really want to. Well, maybe the armor upgrade does come in, so let's just say 5 Hydras. Because TLO not prioritizing that carrier pace upgrade, as WhiteRa now finally going to get +2 air weapons, as he does start +3 ground as well. But we'll see what TLO can manage to do with all these infestors. When you have 10 infestors out, or 12 infestors, anything could happen. But it's still just very unlikely. Maybe infested Terrans would even be a good idea. Just mainly Fung Growth the carriers once, shoot a bunch of infested Terrans out, and force the carriers to attack those while your Hydras get underneath them as well. I don't know what TLO though could do. The damage is just, at this point, too much. WhiteRa has done a great job keeping these carriers alive. Going to this loss type, you can see TLO losing 26k, WhiteRa losing 13k. And now he is still just moving out with these carriers. He is up to 12 carriers. And it looks like the Nidus one was down here. I have no clue what this was. Maybe he's using the Nidus to start spreading creep. That's my only logical explanation of what TLO is doing right now with that one Nidus in this one spot. The rocks are still out. Maybe he wants to take another base. But if he does that, well, it's just going to go down to carriers because those rocks aren't out, so he can't really get units there. He has an attack force of Overseers, 6 of them moving out. Maybe he's going to try to contaminate the Stargates, but WhiteRa looks like he has done building carriers as he is at max food right now with 14 carriers. 103 interceptors are out. Keep in mind, each interceptor will do 7. So now 700 damage per volley. A little bit over because I missed the 7 interceptors that I wasn't counting. And I don't think WhiteRa has interceptors auto building. No, there's 2 carriers. 3. Let's see. Not all of them have 8. This one is building them. He's only got 4, but it's not the biggest deal. As now WhiteRa is going to come in, and TLO has to get like the best fungal growths possible on all these interceptors. And he does get it on the carriers. He doesn't have no parasite, so he can't get that mothership. And still he's trying to fungal growth the interceptors and then try to kill them when he should just be worried about the carriers. And now Storm's going off and feedback's going off on everything. This Overseer's about almost dead, and whoa, he's got plenty of Overseers. TLO has 10 Overseers right now. Storm's going off on everything. These infestors are pretty much out of energy. He's got enough for no more fungal growth. Carriers are going to be living through that, and he is still at 14 carriers. I don't think he lost a single carrier in that engagement. And, well, carriers. Pretty good when you're masking them and your opponent is stubborn and only builds Hydras. So here we go. 14 carriers before this battle, and he's probably going to keep all 14. Storm's going off on these Hydras. You can see fungal growths on the carriers, but they don't really take too much damage from fungal growth. Some of them are out of shields. This one's almost dead in the red, but it lives, and that is game. So let's go over to SC2 gears and see how TLO's injecting was and what the APM was like. That's not SC2 gears. Hold on one sec. There we go. So TLO's inject average was 28.2. But it looks like it's mainly just because this one hatch has a 69.6 average inject gap. Probably didn't have a queen sitting on that too long and just completely forgot about it. That is definitely looking bad at 70-second gap. If you take this one, I don't think I can take this one out of the equation, but it's probably not too bad. I'll say he has like 11.6, 16.5, 15.5, so it's looking pretty good. But it's definitely these hatches down here which just kill him. This hatch, actually this hatch sucks right in this whole area, and then this one, bottom one, sucks in that area, but maybe this hatch does go down, and that's those carriers at the 5th base. So yeah, this hatch just does die. But, I think TLO definitely could have had that game if he got Corruptors, instead of just building Hydras. I think the carriers only worked because, well, TLO didn't know how to combat them. APM tab TLO 172, WhiteRa 105. Hopefully you guys enjoy the cast. It's definitely awkward when I try to go like an analytical cast on something like this. This game just kind of took me by surprise in Shakuras Plateau. I don't really have words for it. TLO really wanted to make Hydras work against carriers and try to kill interceptors, which, if they didn't have an 8-second build time, was still at 16 seconds. I could see that working. That would work pretty well. But at 8 seconds, carriers just rebuild interceptors too quickly. Hopefully you guys enjoy the cast. Take care, and I will see you next time.